The Warriors beat Kevin Durant and the Nets, and then they lost against Embiid, and next they beat Ja and the Grizzlies, only to lose to them a few weeks later. Then on Christmas Day, the Warriors took out the number 1 seeded Suns, but then just like 2 weeks later, they got their worst beatdown of the season by Giannis and the Bucks. What's going on here? Are the Warriors really gonna win the 2022 NBA championship? As of today, the Warriors are 5-5 over the last 10 games, but let me say this loud and clear. It's nothing really to panic about. Because remember guys, the goal is to win an NBA championship, not to win the number 1 seed in the regular season. I mean, the 76ers won the number 1 seed last year, remember? And look where that got them.
Well, it was on this floor in game 1, remember? You know what that was about? That's what he said. Just those mechanics right there.
This work on it.
Ben Simmons. He misses again. And Atlanta, your Hawks are headed back to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 6 years.
If it takes the entire season to trade him, if it takes all year for the Sixers to find a trade that's acceptable for them.
Yeah, and I'm just going to stop it right there. So remember guys, the goal isn't to be the number 1 seed, it's to win the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Anyway, back to the Warriors. I think Steph said it best when he said, "We always talk about breaking this into 3 seasons, getting off to a good start while waiting for Klay and Wiseman to get back. This period we are in right now where we have to make those adjustments and continue to get better, stay patient and get everybody comfortable with our new chemistry. And then a playoff push, which by post-All-Star break type vibe, where you have to get really dialed in and understand who you are." So, regarding the losses the Warriors had recently, it's just all part of the learning and development process. Moving ahead here. The truth is, every other team in the league has already been at full health at one point during the season, and we saw what they were capable of. But the Warriors? Well, although they're the 2nd seed in the league currently, no one has really seen what they're truly capable of just yet. I mean, the Dubs were missing their 2nd best player in Klay until recently, and when he finally came back, Draymond went out. On top of that, their 7-foot center Wiseman, who's been training hard with Nikola Jokic's former coach, is still missing in action. Finally, their new rookie in Jonathan Kuminga looks to be getting exponentially better as the season goes on.
The best league in the world, one of the best teams in that league. Kuminga spinning and finished. There's a steal. Kuminga ahead of the pack, goes up. Kuminga goes.
Man, oh man. The sky's the limit for this kid, and if he can just develop a bit more before the playoffs arrive, he can really help set them apart from the competition. I mean, think of this 10-man rotation once the postseason comes around. For the starting unit, you got Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, and James Wiseman. Then coming off the bench, you got Jordan Poole, Jonathan Kuminga, Gary Payton II, Kevon Looney, and Otto Porter Jr. Superstars, regular stars, solid role players, offense, defense, you name it, the Warriors got it. But you might ask, can this group really win the 2022 championship? Well, let's look at the field. In the West, you've got the Phoenix Suns, the Utah Jazz, Memphis, Dallas, Denver, and maybe the Lakers. Well, despite being severely shorthanded on Christmas Day and without a true center, the Warriors defeated the Suns. With a completely healthy squad from whichever angle I look, I just don't see the Suns winning this one. I mean, Suns fans on Reddit were already getting worried once Klay got back. One user wrote, "You just have to hope Klay doesn't hit 100% until next year at this point." Well, let me ask y'all, how does this look?
That's it. You're going inside. 5 seconds to work with. Klay on a reload 3.
I think that footage speaks for itself here. Anyway, moving on. The Utah Jazz seem to be one of those teams that just don't go far in the playoffs. I mean, they lost against a Kawhi-less Clippers last season, and their 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert, seems to be almost a defensive liability in the playoffs. I mean, check these out really quick. Here's Rudy Gobert in the crucial Game 6. Look how far he is from the corner closeout.
Terrence Mann wide open for 3.
Then just a few moments later, the same thing happens again. I actually had to check to make sure this wasn't the same clip because here's Rudy Gobert again. Terrence Mann is again in the corner and it's the same result.
On the drive, kicks it out for Mann. Mann, 3-pointer.
If the Kawhi-less Clippers can expose the Jazz like this, just imagine what the Warriors can do with all their split action. Warriors in 5. Next off, the Grizzlies beat the Warriors in the play-in tournament last year and twice already this year, but never once were the Warriors at full strength. On March 28th, both teams will meet again, and they should both be at 100%. In saying that, I'm going to predict a 20-point utter domination by Golden State, and if they meet in the playoffs, I'm going to say the Warriors in 5. Dallas, I feel, isn't really ready yet, and Denver, well, without Jamal or MPJ, they're going nowhere fast. The Lakers, well, despite the huge dunk by Westbrook the other day, they're struggling to stay above 500. So let's move on to the East now. We just saw what the Warriors could do to the Chicago Bulls, so I won't even go there. Against the Nets, well, Kyrie won't be able to play home games in Brooklyn, so without Uncle Drew, I don't think the Nets will even make the finals. The Milwaukee Bucks just gave the Warriors their worst loss of the season, but I believe a healthy Draymond Green and James Wiseman should be able to slow down Giannis, and that's the key to beating Milwaukee. And plus, the Warriors are raising their own mini Giannis. Who knows what he'll be able to do in the postseason.
Tonight, they are 0 for 4 without him. He started first 5-6. Oh my goodness.
It may be a bit of wishful thinking, but at Kuminga's development pace, who knows, guys? Who knows? Anyway, the Cavaliers are currently the 4th seed, but I don't think they're a series championship contending team. And the 76ers, well, unless they figure out what to do with that Ben Simmons contract, they won't be able to get past the Bucks. And the Miami Heat, well, they play hard like the Warriors, but when the Warriors are healthy in both defense and offense, I believe the Warriors are about a step or two above them. On another note here, guys, up until now, the only real weakness of the Warriors was a lack of a big. Teams were able to punish them in the paint, and on the other end of the floor, there wasn't a lob weapon or a center who can roll well in pick and rolls. Well, when Wiseman returns, that's going to change. Dejan Milojevic, who's been tasked with training Wiseman, said earlier this season, "When we talk about a developing player, there is a part where you learn skills, but there is a more important part where you work on decision-making on the court. You're watching videos, analyzing films, explaining you should do this, you should do that. That part is even more important than the part of learning how to dribble and shoot." And for Wiseman, that's really true. Last season, Wiseman wasn't really lacking the skills of a center, but instead he was lacking a bit of size and decision-making. Well, from what I've read of reports, Wiseman has a really insane work ethic and gained about 10 pounds of muscle. Also, somewhere within the 25 games he'll have to finish off the season, I think Wiseman will start understanding how to efficiently make an impact, just like how Kuminga is learning at the moment. So just imagine Wiseman being able to slow down the likes of Giannis and Ayton on the defensive end of the court. And on the offensive end of the court, imagine a ton of these.
And the pass, Wiggins attacking. Dropping it off to Wiseman.
Defend as well. He's up with a rejection right on cue. Wiseman.
Yeah. Anyway, once the trio of Clay, Draymond, and Curry get back together, we're going to start seeing exactly what this Warriors team is capable of. Once Kuminga starts developing a bit more and gets used to playing Warriors basketball, he's going to become more and more of a beast on the court, making ESPN highlight reels just like Ja Morant is doing. Then Wiseman. Well, once he's back, then for once the Warriors are going to be at full strength, and then we'll really see just how good they truly are. And the crazy thing about this is, I haven't even talked yet about Gary Payton II's defense, or the sixth man potential of Jordan Poole, or the double-doubles of Kevon Looney, or the new all-star in Andrew Wiggins, or Wilt Chamberlain's descendant in Otto Porter Jr. If and when every team is at complete health, anything can happen, but the Warriors have to be the favorites to win the 2022 NBA championship. Anyway, I'm going to change the topic here really quick. You know who I believe doesn't get the recognition he deserves? Kevon Looney. He's always forgotten because he plays with superstars, but the man is a silent beast. He's vastly underrated and is an integral part of the Warriors team, which is actually why I made this video right here, where I go over just how he got to this Warriors team. And let me tell you guys, this dude is the definition of hard work, perseverance, and never giving up. Anyway, click the video, and like always, I'll see you on the other side.